So I'm a nursing intended major, and the capstone really opened up my eyes to what career I wanted to pursue in college. The first thing that a lot of students had questions about was how to put together a topic. So there's three things that I found out when I was doing the capstone. One was potential career choices. Think about what do you want to do after high school, whether that is going to get a job or going to college and pursue a higher education. Think about what you want to do and start from there. Another thing, if you're not sure what career choice you want to do, think about the social issues regarding, your community, the nation right now, and social issue regarding your job or your intended career, and start from there. If you cannot find anything, ask your mentor once you get a mentor and ask them what social issues or issues they have regarding their field of work. They're experts, they should know how to address that problem for you. Thing that I found that was challenging was the research paper. So the first thing that I recommend is discuss different social issues of your chosen topic with your mentor. If you already know what social issue you want to address and you're not sure if that's happening in your field of study, ask your mentor. They can also direct you to a better path and a better way to approach your topic. When I did mine on inadequate prenatal care, I had a lot of different path that I wanted to take with that issue. So my mentor suggested that I did social issues, also economic issues regarding pregnant women and their financial status. And then the next thing that I highly recommend is brainstorm. It's the basic thing to do when you're doing research paper or any writing in general is to brainstorm ideas, brainstorm your thesis, kind of lock down to like a clear thesis or a narrow thesis of what you want to talk about, because in your research paper, if you write in different points and too many ideas, it's hard to follow, especially with your teachers, hard to follow, and it's harder for you to present your ideas because you're presenting so many different topics. And so yeah, and database research is highly important if you're pursuing your career and getting a higher education, especially in college. You're going to have to do a lot of database research, whether that is Google, peer-reviewed articles. That's something that they want you to put into your research paper. Also, professors also prefer books at libraries. The old tradition method of having to find a book, read it, and annotate it, and write it in your research paper. A really quick tip is that bibliography, especially from the authors that you read or the scholars that you read, it's called the works cited page. You scroll down to it, you look at it. There's a lot of sources that they use for their research paper. You can use those for your research paper too, because they're taking the information from other scholars and authors and putting in your research paper. So to their research paper, so you can also do the same. It's easier, it's quicker, and you can also fact check whether those are true or not based on what a different scholar says. Solution to the issue: be creative. That's the one thing. Be creative. This is your project. This is how you want to present it to your teacher, to your community, and to yourself. You want to show your community that just because we are from Osborne, a tiny school that people criticize or judge, that doesn't mean we're not capable of creating bigger projects, changing the community, and going to bigger schools. That's the little stereotypical thing they say about us. But all of you guys are capable enough to change that and break that barrier, and you can go and do a lot of things. And what would you like to change? Just think of your problem, your ethical and problem. What do you not see what do you not see in that field that you want to change? Is there anything that you want to address? What products would you like to create that is creative but also outside the box? So you never know, your product might be sold in a supermarket or to that profession one day. Everything is possible. Next thing I want to talk about is communication with mentor. So I heard that it's mandatory to have a mentor for the capstone, correct?
Mm-hmm.
What I think about mentor is that it's really, really helpful to have someone who's experienced in their work field to talk to you and get you interested in what they do. You appreciate that work study, but also the person who's in that work field. And one thing I recommend, that if you cannot meet up with your mentor, which I know that's a concern for a lot of students, FaceTime them, text them, email them. You have technology. You have laptops, you have phones, you have tablets. Those are the outlets to talk to them. Like, you don't have to meet up with them if you can't. Text them, email them with questions. That's why I highly recommend with questions. You do not want to text them and waste their time and your time where you have questions to ask. Meeting, if you're meeting up with your mentor like I did, I usually meet up with her twice a week to go through the checkpoints and go through the project and to see, what is lacking in my project and what is working well. So if you're meeting with your mentor, ask questions, have a list of questions you want to ask, be productive, do not waste your time or their time. Have maybe a sheet of paper or a notebook and take notes on things that they want you to know. And especially since I did something in the medical field, there's a lot of medical terms and a lot of other terms used for equipment in the hospital. I had to write down a lot of notes and ask my mentor to clarify what those terms mean and, to help me kind of pronounce them and understood the work so that it makes it easier for me to present it to, an audience who don't really know anything about that. It makes me more knowledgeable and give them any knowledge that I have. Like I said, ask your mentor for any clarifications that you don't understand. And then another great way is phone interview if possible. Ask permission first if you're going to do a phone interview with someone, because you do not want to do that without their permission. Email them the question beforehand, just a list of questions that you and your mentor can follow. Ask them that. You have a recording. You can go back and hear it if you missed something. And the thing is, what if you cannot find a mentor? Like Ms. Gelson said, your teacher is your resource. They're helping you. Their job is to help you. Don't be afraid to ask, your teacher for help or to help look for a mentor. If you call, let's just say I called the hospital at WellStart and I cannot find a mentor, it's okay to ask them, can you please direct me to someone who's willing to help me? And that's another way to, get a mentor. But I got a mentor through Ms. Hurd. My mentor, her name is Ms. Jamie Angel, and we still keep in contact till this day. I asked her a lot of advice on college, nursing programs in general, how competitive it is, because you're going to have to compete with a lot of other students from different schools just to get a spot in the hospital. But yeah, so please, if you can, find a mentor. If you cannot, you have resources outside and inside of the classroom to help you with that. Presentation-wise should be fun because you're going to, give people your knowledge of what you learned throughout your whole research. But one thing that's not going to make it fun, if you're reading off of PowerPoint, especially with paragraphs, that 4 to 3 paragraphs, that's not fun at all. You're going to bore your judges to death. You're going to bore your teacher to death. You're going to bore yourself to death because you're not going to follow what you're going to write. So put little points on your PowerPoints to make it easy to, understand that you're just going to look at it, remind yourself, this is what I'm going to talk about, and talk about it. Have note cards, just maybe index cards with, little notes with like slide 1, I'm going to talk about the economic issues of like prenatal care, for instance. Write down the important parts. Do not write paragraphs on your index card either. Do not write too much because you're going to lose focus what you want to talk about. Go over your presentation. That's a very professional and good way to do a presentation, is go over it beforehand, know what you're talking about, fix and tweak stuff that you feel like it's not working, add stuff that you feel like it's working. What I did was, days leading up to the presentation, I sat or stood in front of my mirror in my room and pretend those are judges and went through my presentation and see, okay, maybe this didn't work, or maybe this did work. Or have a friend, or your teacher to look through your presentation. Just have someone to check it for you. And product and visual. I highly recommend having a visual and your product, because you're working so hard and you worked really hard to create a research paper and learn so much through it. Why not also have a visual for yourself that you can be proud of, for your teacher to see and your community to see that you created something wonderful? I brought my